In the history of the Premier League, we've seen some absolutely monumental transfer fees. Whether that be going from a club in the Premier League to another club in the Premier League, whether that be going from a club in the Premier League to a club abroad, some of the money being thrown about on people is absolutely mental. But have you ever wondered who your club's most profitable player is in the history of the team? Well, that is what we're here to do today. My name is Jack Durkin. Welcome back to another video on the HITC football channel. Today, we're going to be exploring the most profitable transfers from your club. We are going to be looking at every single Premier League club's most profitable player. Whether that be an academy graduate that's come through the ranks and then the club has gone on to make absolute money bags on them, or whether it's a very smart bit of business and they've bought them on the cheap and sold them for a hell of a lot more. Now, I'm telling you early doors, there are some players in this list that will 100% surprise a lot of you. And whilst I was preparing for this video, going through some of the players, going through some of the money that people have been sold for and also bought for, my head's absolutely fallen off. Drop a like early doors if you're ready for me to surprise you with some profitable footballers, and let's get into your club's most profitable player. Okay, so like I say, we're starting with Arsenal. We're starting with the Gunners, a team that over the years have had some unbelievable signings. They've also got rid of a lot of good players. Samir Nasri, Adebayor to Man City early doors. They got rid of Gael Clichy there, Bakary Sagna. Van Persie went to Man United, Thierry Henry to Barcelona. For a while, they were seen as a bit of a selling club. They weren't keeping hold of players, and bigger clubs were just coming in and buying whoever they wanted, which I know very well frustrated a lot of Arsenal fans. But Arsenal's most profitable transfer is probably one that surprises you. When they have got rid of players, when they have had departures out the door, they've not really been for that much money. And the most profitable player is only actually worth £35 million to Arsenal. Who is that profitable player? Well, it's actually Alexander Iwobi. Iwobi signed for Everton at 23 years old and was obviously an academy graduate from Arsenal, picked to be one of the next very, very best. But to get 35 million at the time for a 23-year-old that we weren't really sure would be as good as he was meant to be is a good bit of business for Arsenal. Like I say, I was surprised by this one because I thought they'd have a lot more money for a player departing, but they don't really. I think the most expensive transfer fee they actually sold anyone for was Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool for £38 million. So it really shows you that they're not the best at selling players. Next up, we move to Aston Villa, a player that probably everybody is going to know. Everybody is going to have already thought about this. It is, of course, Mr. Jack Grealish. Again, an academy graduate, so all money is profit for Aston Villa in this transfer. The most expensive signing for a British footballer for Jack Grealish to Man City, signed for £100 million British pounds, which is absolutely staggering. Has he gone on to be that successful at Man City? I mean, listen, he won the treble, so define successful, Jack. But I'm thinking more on a personal level. Has he really done that well in assists? Has he really done that well in goals? The first season, he was really, really good. Last season sort of fell off a little bit, and similar this season, he's not been great. But nonetheless, £100 million from Aston Villa, where Aston Villa, he's a hero. He was unbelievable. A lovely bit of business for Villa. Bournemouth, someone that isn't an academy graduate, the first one that isn't an academy graduate on this list. A man that moved this summer to Tottenham Hotspur. We have got Dominic Solanke as Bournemouth's most profitable footballer. In January 2019, Bournemouth signed Dominic Solanke from Liverpool for £19 million, which after spells at Chelsea and Liverpool, no one was really sure what Solanke was about, but then at Bournemouth, he absolutely found his feet. Last season, having the best season of his career so far, which in turn obviously earned him the move to Spurs. Spurs paying £65 million for the services of Mr. Solanke, which resulted in a profit for Bournemouth of £46 million in total. Bournemouth to Brentford. Now, this is the first one where it was actually very, very close between two strikers. Two English strikers, to be exact. Two English strikers that came from a lower league to sign for Brentford, to be exact. It is between Ollie Watkins and Ivan Toney for the most profitable player at Brentford. Obviously, Ivan Toney moving to Saudi Arabia this summer for £40 million, but Brentford initially bought him from Peterborough United for a £10 million fee. The total profit there being £30 million, but Ollie Watkins signed for Brentford from Exeter City for just £1.8 million. And then left Brentford to sign for Villa for £33 million, making his total profit £31.2 million, pipping Ivan Toney to the post by £1.2 million. Brighton and Hove Albion, a team that are absolutely infamous for just spawning unbelievable footballers. They come out of absolutely nowhere, whether that be Enciso from South America, whether that be Matoma from Asia. The scouting network is something you'd see on Football Manager. And let alone Brighton, right? This could be one of the best most profitable transfers in the history of football. In fact, forget that. The history of football, just the history of business ever. The player I'm, of course, referring to is Moises Caicedo. Again, a player that hasn't come through the academy. Brighton have actually gone out and done a seriously good bit of business with this deal. 4 million this man signed for. £4 million in 2021 from an Ecuadorian first division side called Independiente del Valle. Oh, it honestly just sounds like I've made that up. Caicedo actually only played for the club for just over a season and a half, probably pushing on 2 seasons. And then we all know he's gone on to sign for Chelsea in the Todd Bowley era for a staggering £115 million, resulting in a profit of £111 million. In the space of 18 months, this man has gone from being worth £4 million to £115 million. There's hope out there for anyone. Okay, heading over to London, we come to Chelsea. Their most profitable footballer of all time is an absolute... Is he a legend of the game? Maybe not a legend, but an absolutely disgusting footballer. Eden Hazard. At Chelsea, Eden Hazard was at times untouchable. One of the best players the Premier League has probably ever seen. He went on to move to Real Madrid for £130 million, where he absolutely flopped, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people were really excited to see how well he would do at Real Madrid in that team around superstars. And instead of performing on the pitch, I think he just enjoyed the lifestyle of paella and beers too much. Chelsea actually only signed Eden Hazard for £32 million from Lille, which at the time was expensive, but the profit margins from selling him to Real Madrid, well, they speak for themselves. A total profit of £98 million, which is very respectable considering how much Chelsea spend on some footballers. Next up, we go to Crystal Palace. Their most profitable player of all time is the right-back Aaron Wan-Bissaka, renowned for his Inspector Gadget legs and making stupid tackles. But this summer, he recently signed for West Ham, like I say, for £15 million. He initially signed for Manchester United, however, for £50 million, including add-ons. At Crystal Palace, he came through the academy, so again, all profit, baby. The total profit being £50 million British pounds. Flying through to Everton. We come to Everton, the most profitable player of all time for their club. At the time when he signed, it was actually a transfer fee record for Everton in £28 million. And they then went on to sell him for £90 million to Manchester United. Another player going to Manchester United. The player I am referring to is Romelu Lukaku. A total profit of £62 million from Everton, that being their most profitable player of all time. Lukaku has now gone on to have more clubs than Tiger Woods. He's actually the most expensive player ever in a cumulative transfer fee, stacking up to a total of €374 million. Whoever that man's agent is absolutely world class. Okay, back to London we go. We move to Fulham, the Craven Cottagers. Their most profitable footballer ever is none other than João Paulinho, who once again moved this summer to Bayern Munich. The Portuguese midfielder, who was loved by everyone at Fulham at the time. He was probably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League last season. He signed for Fulham in 2022 for £17.2 million from Sporting Lisbon, and he then moved to Bayern Munich for £47.4 million this summer. The total profit being £30.2 million. Okay, we're moving back to another academy graduate. We're heading over to Ipswich Town. Now, this footballer is a man you have not going to heard of for a very, very long time. Connor Wickham is Ipswich Town's most profitable footballer. Connor Wickham signed for Sunderland for £8.1 million, and the fee potentially could have rose to £12 million back in 2011. I don't remember him being terrible at Sunderland. I'm sure he scored a few goals. I'm sure he went to Palace. He's been about quite a bit, to be fair. He actually played for Super League United as well. Okay, from Ipswich definitely being the least profitable on this list to probably one of the highest on this list, we move to Leicester City. Their most profitable player is the most expensive defender of all time. It is Harry Maguire. Similar to Brentford, very, very close in this. I had to do a bit of maths to work out who was the most profitable player. Signing for Manchester United back in 2017 for £80 million. We all know about the career of Harry Maguire. I feel sorry for the man because he actually is a good centre-half. He's a good defender. And I just want to give the poor fella a cuddle. Not in a gay way. He cost Leicester just £17 million when they signed him from Hull City, making the total profit £63 million for the Foxes. Okay, we head over to Liverpool. Now, this one really, really shocked me. And not in terms of who the player was, but I forgot how much money Liverpool made from this, how much they sold him for, how much they bought him for, and just how ridiculous this whole transfer was. I spoke about Caicedo being probably one of the best bit of businesses in football that we've ever seen. This I really think could just beat it. And I've only realised that it could just beat it as I've gone through and found out more. Philippe Coutinho is Liverpool's most profitable ever footballer, and I'll explain to you why right now, because you will not be surprised. Liverpool signed this man for Inter Milan for £8.5 million. £8.5 million. It was back in 2013. I remember his FIFA card and thinking, this kid's going to be good. But I also didn't realise how little Liverpool had spent on him. I thought it was more like 20-30 million. Barcelona, a team that are now very much well in debt. I did a video on this channel talking about their debt. Barcelona paid for the services of Philippe Coutinho £146 million. 146! The total profit on this being £137.5 million for Liverpool Football Club. Not only is this the most profitable in terms of money made for Liverpool, but if we actually look at who they reinvested that money on, Sadio Mane, Van Dijk, Salah. Well done, you Scousers. Okay, next up we move to Manchester City again. A player that actually wasn't an academy graduate. A player that they did a good bit of business with. Julian Alvarez, the man who has gone to Atletico Madrid in the most recent transfer window. Alvarez signed for Atletico Madrid for £82 million. Man City bought him for £14 million 2 years ago in 2022. And I thought at the start of the season this was an unbelievable bit of business. And don't get me wrong, money-wise it is. Profit-wise it is. But Man City are really struggling this year. And Julian Alvarez could have been a superb addition to having that team with all the injuries, all the players missing. Do I think if they could take back that £82 million and keep hold of Julian Alvarez, they'd do it? I definitely do. Manchester United, the biggest and one of the most infamous signings in their history of football at the time. It broke all records. Cristiano Ronaldo signing for Real Madrid for £80 million. Man United only paid £12.24 million from Sporting Lisbon for Ronaldo when he was 18, when he was a baby-faced assassin. The profit for Manchester United, however, was £67.76 million. Next up, we head up north to Newcastle United, a very, very cold place this time of year, and the first team to actually have two players that went for the exact same amount of money. Two players that are actually the most profitable players at Newcastle United. Both players also coming through the academy, except they were 13 years apart from when they both left the club. I am talking about Andy Carroll and Elliot Anderson. Andy Carroll obviously went on to sign for Liverpool at the time when he also signed with, was it Luis Suarez? I'm sure it was. The dual signing of them two. And then Elliot Anderson, who went the summer just gone. Quite a lot of these players are the summer's just gone. And like I say, the first time we've actually got two players that are the most profitable for their respective club. We've just touched on Elliot Anderson signing for Nottingham Forest. Well, let's head to Nottingham Forest and find out who their most profitable player of all time is. Again, a player in more recent times, a young academy graduate in Brennan Johnson signing for Spurs for £47.5 million. Again, complete profit for Nottingham Forest, came through the academy. And since joining Spurs, has scored 10 goals in 44 games. He's finding his feet more this season. The majority of those goals have come this season. Shout out to Brennan Johnson as well, by the way, because he also played for my hometown club on loan, Lincoln City, where he was unbelievable. The last four teams, we head down south all the way to the coast to Southampton. And their most profitable player is, again, quite an obvious one. It's Virgil van Dijk, as he signed for Liverpool for £75 million at the time. Southampton, however, signed Van Dijk from Celtic for £13 million. Became one of the best defenders in the Premier League at the time for playing Southampton in an unbelievable team with the likes of Pella, Lambert, Lallana, Mane, and then obviously moved to Liverpool and became one of the best defenders to ever play the game. The profit, however, was a whopping £62 million for Southampton. Next up, we've got Spurs. Their most profitable player of all time is one that's pretty obvious. Again, couple that were close. Gareth Bale was very close, but he signed for quite a lot of money for Spurs in the first place. So obviously the most profitable player has to be Harry Kane. Signing for Bayern Munich for £86.4 million from Spurs. Again, an academy graduate, so it's all just coin for Daniel Levy. Kane left to go and win trophies, and that is still yet to happen. Bless him. He went to Bayern to go and win the lot, and they won absolutely zilch last season. And also a great bit of business by Spurs, by the way, because he's now 31, and for the England team, we're seeing him fade a little bit. The Euros, he probably wasn't what we all thought he would be. So a great bit of business by Spurs, a huge amount of profit by Spurs, and I hope for Harry Kane's sake he does win a trophy. The penultimate team, West Ham United, again, quite an obvious one. We've got Declan Rice as their most profitable player, very similar to Jack Grealish in the fact that he was homegrown talent and he went for the exact same fee, £100 million. It could potentially rise to £105 million, but he is the most expensive British player of all time alongside Jack Grealish. And West Ham actually managed to get the most out of Declan Rice by squeezing a trophy out of him as their captain just before he left. Okay, finally we come to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, a team that I had to do some research for because there was a lot of players that were very close to being the most profitable. We had Pedro Neto there. We had Mateus Nunes there. We had Ruben Neves there. But the man that just pips them all to the post for the most profitable player at Wolverhampton Wanderers is Maximilian Kilman. Signing for Wolves from non-league outfit Maidenhead for £40,000 in 2018. He then went on to sign for West Ham this summer, 100 times that amount, £40 million he signed for West Ham for, making a total profit of £39,960,000. And one thing to come out of this transfer that is absolutely beautiful, Maidenhead got quite a lot of that money. So there we go, that is the most profitable players from your club in the Premier League. That Coutinho deal will live rent-free in my brain for a long time, and I know you all probably are aware of it. I just forgot. I've got a lot going on in the old noggin. As always, weekly uploads coming on HITC Football again, so if you're not back, if you're not sticking around, if you're not subscribed, if you're not watching every week, then get doing so. My name is Jack Durkin. This is HITC Football. It is always a pleasure. It's never a chore. When you leave, close the door. Take it easy, people. I will see you all in the next video. £146 million!